It was a bright, sunny morning in the evergreen forest. Birds sang sweetly while Grizzy lounged lazily on the porch of the ranger cabin, enjoying a giant stack of pancakes. The forest was calm, quiet, and serene, or so it seemed. Meanwhile, the lemmings, as mischievous as ever, were running through the trees, swinging from vines, and racing each other along the riverbanks. Suddenly, one of the lemmings spotted something strange, a small helicopter toy lying abandoned near the ranger's storage shed. But this wasn't any ordinary toy. It had flashing lights, tiny spinning blades, and a mysterious glowing button. The lemmings squeaked in excitement. They pressed the button, and the helicopter sprang to life, spinning wildly and buzzing around like a miniature drone. Chaos erupted instantly. The lemmings tried to chase it, jumping on branches, swinging on vines, and occasionally bouncing into each other. Grizzy, hearing the loud buzzing, stretched, yawned, and stepped outside. He blinked. What is that? By the time he processed it, the helicopter crashed into a tree, bounced off a rock, and sent a cascade of leaves and mud flying in all directions. The lemmings laughed uncontrollably. Grizzy sighed. Why does it always start with something small? Before he could intervene further, a distant cry reached the forest. It was a group of baby animals trapped on a rocky cliff near the river, unable to reach the water. Grizzy's eyes widened. Oh no, they need help. The lemmings perked up. Rescue. Adventure. Chaos. All three. Without hesitation, they grabbed the glowing helicopter, which had somehow become a flying transport. They zipped toward the cliff, Grizzy following closely behind. The cliff was steep, slippery, and dotted with loose rocks. One wrong step could send the little animals tumbling. Grizzy cautiously approached while trying to coordinate the lemmings. Okay, we need a plan. The lemmings, however, had their own plan. Each grabbed a vine, tied them to rocks, and used the helicopter to lift some of the baby animals off the cliff one by one. Flying, swinging, bouncing, the lemmings' untrained rescue techniques were chaotic but effective. Suddenly, a large branch snapped. The helicopter wobbled dangerously, carrying two animals at once. Grizzy jumped, caught the helicopter, and stabilized it just in time. The lemmings squeaked with relief and cheered. But the adventure wasn't over. The river was rising due to recent rains. A fast-moving current threatened to sweep away some of the rescued animals. Grizzy realized he would have to combine the lemmings' ingenuity with his strength. He dragged a fallen log across the river to form a makeshift bridge while the lemmings held ropes to guide the baby animals safely across. One by one, the animals made it across, the lemmings bouncing with joy, Grizzy panting with exhaustion but smiling secretly at their teamwork. Then came the twist. A giant beehive hanging over the river shook loose. Bees swarmed in anger. The lemmings, thinking it was part of the fun, bounced and dodged, inadvertently leading the swarm away from the baby animals. Grizzy, barely dodging the angry bees, ended up being chased into a mud puddle, completely soaked. Finally, after chaos, laughter, and near disasters, every animal was safe. Grizzy looked at the mess. Mud everywhere, broken helicopter parts, tangled vines, and a dozen excited lemmings bouncing around. He groaned. Why do I even bother? But as he watched the baby animals safely reunited with their families, the lemmings grinned, and even Grizzy couldn't help but smile. That evening, the forest returned to calm. Grizzy, wet, muddy, and exhausted, sank onto his sofa with a giant mug of cocoa. The lemmings gathered around, already plotting their next adventure. Grizzy shook his head. Not again. And somewhere in the trees, a faint buzzing sound suggested. The helicopter wasn't finished yet. It was the first snow of the season in the forest, and Grizzy, the big brown bear, was luxuriating in the warmth of his cozy cabin. Outside, the world was a glittering white, with snowflakes dancing gently in the cold winter air. Grizzy stretched, letting out a deep yawn, and imagined a quiet, peaceful day of hot cocoa, soft blankets, and maybe a classic holiday movie. But peace, as always, was relative. Across the cabin, the lemmings, tiny, gray, and endlessly mischievous, had already hatched a plan for maximum chaos. The moment they spotted the freshly fallen snow, their little eyes glimmered with mischief. "Time for a snow day adventure," they squeaked in unison, though no one asked for their permission. A crisp morning dawned in the ranger's forest. Sunlight filtered through towering pines, illuminating the ranger's cabin. Inside, Grizzy the brown bear stretched luxuriously on the sofa, yawning as he admired the peaceful forest outside. Life was calm, at least for now. But the peace of the forest was about to be hilariously shattered. The Lemmings, mischievous as ever, had discovered a strange glowing gadget the night before in the cabin, a contraption from the ranger's mysterious storage room.